Y hay que resolver. El problema es ganar y ganar por nocaut.
Look, I come from a school of boxing that's about, adapting to what the opponent does, never taking anything for granted. But I can tell you what, no matter what Andy does, I'm going to go and look for the knockout. That's the ultimate goal. Next,
What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. So we just heard there from RUIZ, ORTIZ. Here now, Mr. Andy, double cheese RUIZ. Now listen to me. Ain't gonna lie to no one right now. Your man, the YB, gassed. Yeah, I'm going in big for Mr. ORTIZ. The odds are, I think 4-1 against ORTIZ. You know me, I'm a sucker for an underdog. I'm going in bigly on ORTIZ. Why? Well, end of the day, ORTIZ was outboxing Wilder for both fights until the knockouts. Now, it has to be said, has ORTIZ looked vulnerable? Absolutely. I mean, this is the risk for me. ORTIZ is old. I mean, he's stating to be 43 years old. He could be 53. Look at Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield, who was juiced. And yeah, Holyfield's another 10 to 15 years older, but still. Holyfield was juiced out of his mind, something ORTIZ can't be because of the testing. And we saw how vulnerable, with age. I mean, Holyfield had no whiskers. He got hit and he almost didn't know he got hit and was just on the floor. And that's actually the signs I started to see from ORTIZ. When ORTIZ fought Charles Martin, he was getting hit with simple things like jabs and just on the floor, and he was almost like, what's going on? Although, to be fair to ORTIZ, even when he gets put down by Wilder, he did the same kind of what's going on face. So it might just be his little shtick. But what I will say is that, listen, ORTIZ in that Charles Martin fight was jumping on the floor. More or less anything that touched him, he ended up on the floor. And that was Charles Martin. Andy Ruiz is much more dangerous, much quicker hands. However, even Ruiz himself, number one, isn't known as a big power puncher. Ruiz really, apart from AJ, never stopped no one. In fact, Bob Arum got rid of him because he doesn't have no power. Do you understand? Ruiz isn't a big puncher. AJ has this effect of making people look like they're big punchers. Ruiz is not a big puncher. Who's he stopped? He couldn't stop Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker outboxed him. AJ outboxed him. And that's the point here. Ruiz is not a knockout artist. And even Ruiz himself, guess what? When Ruiz was in there with Chris Arreola in that second or third round was playing ping pong with Ruiz's head. I'm not sure if that big uppercut AJ hit him with has done something, but for sure, for the first time really, we've seen Ruiz look vulnerable. Ruiz looked as vulnerable, or not. I'd say who's the most vulnerable in this fight? Of course, ORTIZ. But I'm leaning on the fact that ORTIZ was able to outbox Wilder for X amount of rounds, and Wilder and Ruiz have similar feet. If anything, Wilder has quicker feet than Ruiz. Ruiz is top heavy and little spindly legs, and combining that with the Mexican style, it makes him very static. Yeah, and on that basis, if ORTIZ goes in there to box on the back foot and just outbox Ruiz, it should be an easy night. Now, the reason I played you that clip at the start of the video is the fact that ORTIZ talking about he going for the knockout. If he goes for the knockout, it makes it a 10 times harder night for him. Because going for the knockout means you're going to be in range. If you're in range with Ruiz, that's where he's dangerous. That's the last place you want to be. I hope his team have some IQ. This fight really is easy for ORTIZ. If ORTIZ goes in there to be on the back foot and outbox, and yes, ORTIZ's legs are older, but still, the whole narrative for this fight should be outbox. Win on points. Because at the end of the day, you win on points, you've then got another multi-million-dollar fight. And at 45-year-old, that's what the game's got to be about at this point. I mean, you can get some brokers are offering 9-1 ORTIZ on points. But again, there's a reason for that. If ORTIZ stands there, squares up, and just starts exchanging, that's where he's going to be up shit's creek. But even so, I'm not sure Ruiz can knock ORTIZ out. I'm just not sure. Because every time ORTIZ went down against Martin, he got straight back up. That said, can ORTIZ win a fight on points if he keeps going down? However, look at the other side. Like I said, Chris Arreola had Andy Ruiz in all kind of trouble. So both of them have questions around their whiskers right now. Of course, though, as I've mentioned, Ortiz is the older guy. He's 20 years older, probably. So, there's a reason the odds are the way they are. That said, there's no way I could put 100 quid on Ruiz to get 30 back. I don't see that at all. And that is the thing you see with the Mexican following. Mexicans, to their respect, to their credit, are very loyal. I'm sorry, I don't see how this fight... In my mind, the fight's probably 45-55 to Ruiz. Or at best, 60-40 to Ruiz. Which would make the odds... Like, what would that be? I don't know what the odds would be there, but... So your 60-40 would be like, what? You put on 100 quid for Ortiz, you get 250 back. That's what a 40% chance would be. Put 100 on, total return would be 250. Not at the moment you put 100 on and you're getting total return 500. So the odds in my mind are double what they should be. I don't see Ortiz having only a 20% chance. I think his chances are a lot higher than that. Both, and who knows? There's a possibility Ortiz could knock Ruiz out, and there's a possibility he can win on points. A lot more than 20%. Bear in mind, as I've said, Ruiz's feet are very slow. He's stuck in the mud almost. He plods along. People call Canelo stuck in the mud. But Canelo's 100 pounds lighter than Ruiz and is more athletic. Ruiz is literally stuck in the mud. And the thing is, I've looked at the metrics. Ortiz is also, he has an inch or two of height. Now, it might not sound a lot, but trust me, an inch or two of height, it makes all the difference. That there means Ortiz is made to outbox Ruiz. It should be all back foot. Let Ruiz dominate the centre and stay on the back foot and jab his head off. That should be... If I see anything less than that, it's a wrap for Ortiz. If Ortiz tries to get too many combos off and gets too greedy, that's when Ruiz can plant his feet and match you. Ruiz is renowned for punching when you punch. And that's how AJ and Parker beat him, by not throwing basically any power punches. They just tapped their way through the fight. Now, I'm not a fan of that style, but at least if I was Ortiz's trainer, yeah, at least build into the fight. At least gain confidence that way. At least say, you know what, the first 4 rounds, I'm going to establish the outboxing. Now, if you get comfortable there and you start seeing power shots, then take them. But don't go in there guns blazing like he did in the Charles Martin fight and got caught unnecessarily. Because the thing is, if you start getting caught when you don't need to, it then makes it very hard to even win the fight on points. If you go down 2 or 3 times, it's a wrap, isn't it? You know, even if you're winning in the outboxing, if you go down a few times, it's a hard night. So, either way though, you have to salute both men. This in my mind is pretty much as close. I mean, if these men were the same age, the fight would be categorically 50-50. If anything, I'd actually give the edge to Ortiz if they were the same age. Ruiz is only like 32. If Ortiz was 32, it'd be the other way, 60-40. If anything, probably even 65-35 to Ortiz. It really is all about the age in my mind. Ortiz looks strong still. It's a question of the whiskers. But both men will fight hard. I mean, I'm excited for this fight. This is a fight we should have had this fight. These are the kind of fights we should have had. But listen, it's here now. I salute both men for taking this. We don't really see these ones. The good 60-40, 50-50 fights. And the last thing I'll say is about Ruiz's weight. I don't know what it is about Ruiz here. He has some weird kind of alien technology. In the build-up, he always looked super lean. I was sure. There was a picture that leaked here, and he had like a 6-pack, almost. I thought, wow, he's lean. 2-2s, he weighed in as heavy as the AJ1 fight. Oh? He's as heavy as he was in the AJ1 fight. That was the original Mr. Blobby performance. What the fuck? It's weird. Now, Ruiz has put on 15 pounds of weight from his last fight. Why? Ruiz says the reason he was dodgy, the reason his chin was dodgy, the reason he went down for the second time in his career was because he was just concentrating on cutting weight. He believes he's more comfortable at the higher weight. I find it hard to believe, I'm sorry. I can't believe that. I think Ruiz has made a mistake there. I can't believe that a human being is naturally that size. I mean, go to Africa, yeah. There's a reason in Africa you won't see anyone looking like that. And that proves it's not genetics. Andy Ruiz's diet is not in control. He might have fooled himself, oh, I need to be heavier. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, it's bullshit. He's lying to himself. There's no man on this earth who needs to be bulbous and soft like that. Now, what he should have done, if he said he crash dieted in the Chris Arreola fight, he should have then built on that. Okay, of course, crash dieting should never be done. That said, it doesn't mean you then balloon back up. Bear in mind, he's had 8 months since the Ruiz fight. Since the Chris Arreola fight. So he should have built on that. Okay, I crash dieted. Let me now stay down at 250. It's not like, really, the man should be 230, to be honest with you. Given his height, he shouldn't be more than 235. AJ, with all the muscle he has, and is taller than Ruiz, is 240. So I'm sorry, Ruiz being small like he is, he shouldn't be more than 240, 235 at best. And he's coming in 270. Nah, man, I can't believe the human frame is made that way. Which tells me that he half playing with it still. I mean, do you think it's a coincidence? A big dude tells you he needs to weigh more. That's convenient, isn't it? Of course he does. Oh, I need to weigh more. Yeah, that's you playing. That's you lying to yourself. But his hands are quick regardless, and that's why Ruiz coming in 270. His feet are going to be super duper slow. Slower than they were in the Arreola fight. Yeah? So Ortiz needs to keep his head down and outbox this guy. And it will be an easy night work. Either way though, I'm super intrigued to see how it plays out. Salute to both men. It's going to be a great show. I don't know how the Ruiz fans are putting the kind of money they're putting on. Maybe he'll blow him out. Maybe Ruiz is going to go in there and blow the guy out. I think there's a good chance as well this fight does go the distance. Why? I'm not sure Ruiz has the power to stop Ortiz. I can see Ruiz putting Ortiz down like 4 times, but I think Ortiz will get up every time. Then again, what happens later on in the fight? We haven't actually seen how Ortiz deals with being in the 10th, 11th, 12th rounds. Because, I mean, didn't he get to the 10th round against Wilder? I think he did actually, but that was years ago. That was 3-4 years ago. And the bad thing is, these are the bad 3 or 4 years. When you get over 40, the years are like double. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, from 30 to 31, that's one thing. But from 40 to 41, it's like 3 years. Yeah? From 40 to 41 is like going from 30 to 33. Or like 30 to 32. You understand? It becomes exponential. But he looked okay on the pads. He looks in alright shape. Although it has to be said, I have to mention, Ortiz did actually weigh in his career heaviest by about 4 pounds. Now, he didn't look like it. I actually thought he looked in great shape. It wasn't until I checked the numbers. He was 4 pounds heavier than his career heaviest. What does that mean? Well, naturally, he's getting older. Like I said, though, he doesn't look... I mean, when you're a heavyweight, we're talking about 1% fluctuation. That's not really something you can write home about. But let's see anyway, man. One of the best heavyweight fights of recent time, truth be known. It should have happened 5 years ago, though, but here we are. No doubt about it. I'm super gassed, super excited. Can't wait.